Welcome back to the saga of my 68 Camaro. Got this thing in South Carolina, dragged it back here, did all kinds of stuff to it over the last few months. Yanked the 327 out in the Saginaw 3-speed, 6.3 stroker, A&A blower, but I got stuff to do here. I'm gonna do some little stuff like cleaning up this trunk, and I'm going to put the heads on my new 454. Over here I've been using my Lucas red and tacky grease, which if I had the ability to do it all again, I probably would get something even a little stickier, a little thicker, because while this rotates the way that I would want it to and all that, a couple of times the bearings fell out of position, and that on this counter shaft can be a terrible, terrible thing. Got to clean up the case I'm not going to clean up the case. Bearings getting changed out. My reverse gear has been swapped out. I had one that was kind of chomped. Here's the old one. See that right on that ridge right there? As compared to the one that is not smoked. See all those? You know, it's kind of surprising to me because this is the reverser. It doesn't make sense that this would be torn up on the edge. My rebuild kit has the seal for the back and the seals for the side where the shifters go through, the little rods. All my gaskets, of course. For the caged bearing that goes between the input shaft and the main gear set, it will be right where this piece slides onto there. This outer piece will be on the outside of the case because that's the input shaft, and the rest of it internally. My other reverser was a little chomped. This one seems to be really good. Those are all of my other clips that hold the bearings into the case. All that I did when it came to these things is I just replaced the synchronizers that look like crap. And see how little, I'm going to zoom in there. See how little those little critters are? They're supposed to kind of resemble, imagine like a house when you draw an incredibly simplified version of a house, just two lines going straight up and then they go 45-degree angle toward each other. That's how they're supposed to look. And this one is just, that thing is just worn down terribly. The ones that I've put in here are in much better condition. See those? See how it looks like a little house? I got the heads painted. Those are not the valve covers I'm going to use, but I just needed something to kind of keep the paint off the top of the head. Tomorrow the lifters go in, the push rods. I already put the push rod guide plates in made by Comp, and the rocker arm studs, of course. Tomorrow, hopefully I can get an intake on it. I won't be putting a carburetor on it yet because I have to put that plate on top so I can lift it and drop it between the frame rails. Finally, before I turn in for the night, I'm going to make a little homemade soup. While the engine's out, going to change out that small block heater core, which was still good, but it places the heater fittings too close to where the valve cover is going to be. So I'm putting in my new one, big block style. This outer casing is the same, the housing. All you have to do is really just cut these two holes and put a little gasket around them, which can be bought separately from buying a whole new housing. Save yourself some money. Here is the current situation. You see this one may need a little bit of help. Not going to use those. I have a set of 7/16 over here, but I'm one shy. I have 7 of them. Over here I have 8 of these, but I have to make sure they're all still good. They're 7/16 as well, but see that? Look through them here. I can see through that. Brain fart engaged. You know what I forgot to do, man? I didn't even take into consideration on the push rod length that I took 30 thousandths off the heads and went to a cam that has a much higher lift than stock. So I just ordered a push rod checker. Oh, I hate waiting. I guess I'll just look at this picture of my old 68 Camaro. There's the finished heater box. Put the big block heater core in there and then just cut 2 holes over here. There's a little trim piece that I already have bought and it's on its way, but it goes on the outside there. Used a little bit of foam on the inside, made the hole just a little smaller than the pipe so it would jam up against this thing. It seems to be on there pretty well. Also, I didn't try to make it fancy. I got a piece of metal, put some RTV all over it, spray painted it black. If you're wondering why it's still shiny, it's because I just painted it. On to the next thing. Before I go closing up the firewall and access to the blower motor, I have to make sure that the blower motor works, and to do that, gotta find a good battery. Found one. There we go. Nice and quiet, moving lots of air. Perfect. Bolt it right back in. And clean these edges here. Make sure I have a nice ground. Now, I have been putting this off for a while. The small block and the Saginaw with the bell housing that came out of this car, not the original stuff. Well, the transmission was, but not the engine. My buddy's going to get the 327. I'm getting the bell housing, but I'm going to see if the clutch, I don't know, maybe or may not be able to use it. I'll have to look at it. If it's not perfect, I won't. But generally speaking, small blocks have 153 tooth flex plate or flywheel. Big blocks are 168. There's one way to find out, and that's get in there. 3840 383. We'll look up that number. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Designed for this car, but also in some Corvettes and Novas and stuff like that. 10.5-inch clutch, which I'm totally fine with, but it does have the 153 tooth flywheel in there. I'm going to do a little digging because this being this engine, the 327, being internally balanced and the 454 externally, I could either get a 454 flywheel or I could get this flywheel, have it resurfaced, and then use one of those little adapter plates that they put on there. Now, keep in mind, I'm trying to do this inexpensively, but I'm also trying to do it right. So I'm going to do a little research. It's kind of weird because it looks as if I've had a critter living in here, and I just had this running like 2 weeks ago. And before that, it sat indoors, but I guess they can get indoors too. The teeth on the flywheel look good, so at least that's an option. I'm going to have to do a little research and see if I can use the starter and the flywheel and all that on my new setup. I think it basically comes down to starter position. One of them has the bolts that are directly across from one another. The other one is staggered. The transmission works great, but I will be using this bell housing. Just a real common 3-speed manual Saginaw used in the 60s, like in all sorts of stuff. As long as it's under 300 horsepower, it's for sale. Clutch looks maybe sort of, kind of okay. Flywheel, though, woof. It doesn't feel like it has ridges on it, but I don't know. Let's go ahead and take it off and see what's up. And lest I forget, I got to get that thing, too. Hook up to my Z-bar. In case you guys ever wonder what's on the wall here in the garage, Bill Warner was a guy who went 311 on a sit-on motorcycle. I raced a turbo Hayabusa for a while, 442 horse. And this guy, Ryan Schnitz, is the guy who tuned it for me. Well, this unfortunately is where I have to take a break. See that little Harley? Fuel pump went out on it. I am officially waiting for parts, so I'm kind of stuck. As usual, I got all kinds of stuff back here. Bell housing has to be cleaned. The Saginaw is for sale. The 454 block is gonna be a spare. How cool is that? Have my flywheel here. I think I'm just gonna get a 168 tooth because the 153. I found out, you know, you've seen those little adapters that go on here that I pointed out earlier in the video? That's made for a flex plate, not a flywheel. Flex plate obviously being the gear that's designed to engage the engine via the starter on an automatic car. And this is obviously a manual. So guess I'll see you back soon. Thank you guys very much for watching, and we'll be back soon.